willful violation of our mandate, we should consider stronger penalties. So I'd count me in that camp. We are not an average state. We are an incredibly special state.
The gun sales, will they begin immediately from security deposits?
First question was the gun reality.
Yes.
Is that
effective immediately, Matt? It'll be effective, I believe, by the end of the day, but I have to look at the order. And Elise, I apologize, I missed the second.
In New Jersey?
not one that I have been a party to a conversation on, but it's not something that I would ignore myself. Dante, move this way if you could. Thank you. Matt, that should be on our list of considerations. It's a good idea. So with that, everyone, please, I apologize. We came by real quick. Would be an example which I think is pretty known, right?
Communities of economic disparity or something like that. Okay.
No. But let me say this. Thank you for asking that question, because that'll give me the opportunity to get on my soapbox, preventing evictions from those homes, et cetera. But I did not mean that. Matt Plackett would like to weigh in.
Gun sales will be open as of tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Gun sales will be open tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I noticed the gentleman who normally asks me about this did not come today. He probably feels as though he had achieved some sort of modicum of success here. What's that? He wasn't let in. That was not our intention, by the way. Thank you all. Again, we're in the fight of our lives. We will not win, and each and every one of us, and again, prove ourselves that we're not an average state. We know. Willful violation of our mandate, we should consider stronger penalties. So I'd count me in that camp. Thank you all. Again, we're in the fight of our lives. We will not win. And I just want to go back also, Dave, to your first question. I don't want anyone to ever look back and say that we didn't say a couple of things. These numbers have gone up dramatically. We expected them to go up dramatically, and we expect them to continue to go up dramatically. This is the fight of our lives. Let there be no doubt about that. Secondly, every state in America, and I've now got ample enough evidence. I spoke to Charlie Baker in Massachusetts yesterday. We were on a video call today. All evidence suggests that every state in America is light PPE. We're hotter than most states, but even on a relative basis, we don't have what we need. And there's an enormous amount. I think we're going to go over this in the next couple of days. We've gotten a lot that's come our way, both from the federal stockpile as well as from other sources. But I would agree with Judy, we're still light. I'm not comfortable with our ventilator levels right now. I feel better than I did yesterday at this time because we got another 300. Our workforce is heroic. I spoke with Debbie White of HPAE. We were back and forth over the weekend. Just extraordinary heroism. Not only do we need the PPE to keep them safe, we need to expand the medical corps that we're building is so important because we need the bodies. I'm with Judy. I don't know whether it's by hook or by crook, or thanks to the brilliance of the team up here, it'll be because there was a plan in place, including by our hospital systems.
Time assumptions that are plugged into the modeling model itself. So again, we continue to monitor these cases, and we have to remember that there are a couple things that are happening with the epi curve. In other words, the number of cases over time, where the horizontal axis is like generally the onset of illness. We've got more testing that's available. We had multiple levels of mitigation, social distancing that were imposed at the same time. So it's kind of hard to tease out how this will actually play out in the actual epi curve that we see.
Pat, real quick on shakedown of the machines. Need the PPE to keep.
Based upon all, we've had so many meetings and discussions with regard to these ventilators. The meeting with Dr. Eastman on Saturday, John, and even meetings since, I would imagine at this juncture it would have
need the PPE to keep
them up that, by the way, when they arrive, you have to do X and Y, and I haven't heard that in Jersey, and I haven't heard that across the whole country. So I'll clarify if I'm mistaken, but
Need the PPE to keep,
I would imagine that when they get here, that they're ready to go.
need the PPE to keep, we're assuming they're coming in fighting shape. Need the PPE to keep.
You mentioned Lakewood again today. Over Saturday was a party in Ewing. Is Lakewood more than any other town, or is it just popped up a couple of times recently
Need the PPE to keep.
in terms of the gatherings?
You know what? I'd have to see what the Rock assessment was. I think there were 70 compliance issues. I don't think it would be fair to say more than any other town.
Need the PPE to keep. This is the fastest growing community in the state. Yes, in the New York Society. This is the fastest growing community in the state. Need the PPE to keep. And I want to repeat, need the PPE to keep. This is the fastest growing community in the state. This is no time. No time is no time, but this certainly is no time. Need the PPE to keep time to cross wires. Need the PPE to keep. Need the PPE to keep and start blaming people and blaming communities. And again, if any of that happens, we will be as aggressive as we've ever been. But when you've got a community of that scale and that growth rate, we take that very seriously. We'll want to work with them. And there's overwhelming need the PPE to keep overwhelming compliance. I think if you just took snapshots of the PPE to keep the streets of Lakewood right now, as we were discussing earlier, you'd see need the PPE to keep. You'd see a pretty empty reality. But there have been a few gatherings that we were not happy about. Matt.
Real quick one, Commissioner. Are you aware of any patients who are at North Jersey hospitals being sent to South Jersey hospitals?
System to make sure that the patients get the most level of care, and if they have to transfer them. But I don't know any specifics.
You good? Anybody back here? You good? Dave, come over here. Dante?
I apologize in advance for asking this, but there's been a lot of information about a lot of points, graphs, projections. Assuming that we
need the PPE to keep
believe the way this is going to play out in this point in time, as
need the PPE to keep.
Dr. Tan had mentioned. If the peak hits, because Commissioner, you and I spoke last week about 14 to 21 days, probably in the North Jersey area, and then it's going to emanate out. If the peak hits in ICU beds, reach capacity 411, do we have enough beds?
Need the PPE to keep.
Do we have enough equipment? Do we have enough PPE?
Need the PPE to keep.
Right now to handle what we think will be the surge when it happens as it plays out?
Need the PPE to keep.
I do. I do.
Need the PPE to keep.
I do. But I'm concerned about the PPE and the impact on the workforce. Is that fair?
Beds?
I think we'll have enough beds. Everybody's working feverishly, and really, the
The whole business about cracking down on wise guys who don't follow the regulations. Knuckleheads, excuse me.
Yes.
In Korea, South Korea, I know they have gone door to door. They've fined people, I think, $8,000 who went out when they were told to stay home, or they put them in dormitories. Has there been any discussion realistically about how to get tougher if people don't follow these rules? Because on the one hand, it sounds like most people are complying,
Yes.
but you've got the knucklehead group that is not.
I don't anticipate we're going door to door unless there's a reason to, and Pat can correct me if I'm wrong. We're just a different society, but that doesn't mean we